Hello and welcome to Comic Drake, where I talk about comic books. My name is Drake. Nico Minoru, aka Sister Grimm, is one of the most popular members of the Runaways team, and in fact, she has made more appearances in non-Runaways comics than any other member of the team. And also, she is one of the most well-known Japanese characters that Marvel has going for them. But who is she? What is she all about? Well, I'm going to take her complete history and try to condense it down, so this is going to be fun. Throughout her life, Nico Minoru was forced to attend charity events with her parents, where she became acquaintances with the children of her parents' associates that were forced to do the same. Well, one year things changed when Alex Wilder, the son of the event's host, revealed that he found a secret passage in his home and suggests that the kids go spy on their parents. After peeping in, the children discovered that their parents made up a criminal organization called the Pride, which ruled the criminal underground of Los Angeles. If that wasn't bad enough, they were performing dark rituals, and the kids watched them murder a teenage girl. Clearly, this shocked the kids, and they did the smart thing by reporting this to the police. But many of the officers were on the Pride's payroll and stonewalled them. This prompted the kids to break into their parents' offices and files to find out as much information as they could by themselves. But the Pride quickly found out what their offspring was up to. When attempting to subdue her daughter, Nico's mother attempted to strike her with a magic staff, but instead, Nico absorbed it. This is the Staff of One, a powerful magical relic that emerges whenever Nico bleeds. And yes, perverts, her period can also summon the staff. That is literally a plot point that has been established. Anyway, the more blood that is shed, the stronger the spells. But there is a catch. Nico can only use each spell one time. With Nico's magic and the gifts that each of the other children discovered they had, they successfully escaped their parents, and Nico began a relationship with Alex. So where would this team of runaways live? Well, thankfully one member of the team, Chase Stein, the idiot son of mad scientists, had a secret cave that he would slink off to whenever he wanted to be alone, and this made for a great team base. Now that they were on their own, the Runaways decided to abandon their names, and instead strictly refer to each other by new self-assigned code names. Nico's was Sister Grimm, after her AIM handle, which, wow, it seriously dates this book. Regardless, you don't need to worry about how cringy all of this sounds, because after not too long, the entire team dropped the code names altogether. Things between Nico and Alex got a bit complicated when Nico kissed Topher, a vampire who briefly joined the Runaways, before revealing himself to be super freaking evil. But the final nail in their relationship's coffin was when Alex came out as a traitor, and that he had been working with the Pride the entire time. See, the Pride was working for some evil god things who were going to destroy the world, and despite the fact that there were 12 members of the Pride, the evil gods only offered sanctuary for 6. The Pride decided that they'd give up their chance of being saved in exchange for their children getting their spots. However, with Alex's help, his and Nico's parents were going to turn on the rest of the Pride and steal their spots, and planned on using the last 2 for the kids. Alex tried convincing Nico to come along, but she rejected it. Nico and the other Runaways stopped the ritual that would bring the gods to power, who, needless to say, were super displeased, and expressed it by instantly killing Alex. In fact, they were going to take everyone out. But in one last fit of parental love, the Pride sacrificed themselves so that their children could escape. As soon as they got away, though, Captain America found the Runaways and put them into foster homes. Well, the Runaways managed to run away from their new homes, and Nico took over as the team's leader, as they lived on the run. During this time, Nico tried multiple times to bring Alex back to life, despite the fact that he broke her heart and betrayed the entire team, but every time she failed. Regardless, things went pretty smoothly for the team until a future version of one of their teammates, Gertrude, came back in time to warn the Runaways of a powerful villain named Victor Mancha before promptly dying. The Runaways tracked Victor down, but he ended up being a really nice kid, despite the fact that he couldn't control his blossoming electrical powers. Victor ended up joining the team after discovering that his father is the killer robot Ultron and helped the team take him out. Okay, so now that we've introduced Victor, let's get serious for a moment. Nico has a lot to deal with when it comes to relationships. In fact, under times of great stress or mourning, she typically seeks out physical comfort, such as when she started sleeping with Victor after Gertrude was killed in the present by a new incarnation of the Pride. Following the new Pride's defeat, the Runaways were roped into working for the Kingpin, which involved them stealing a time machine and accidentally getting displaced to the 1900s. It was here that Nico was kidnapped by a woman named the Witchbreaker, who turned out to be her great-grandmother. The Witchbreaker tortured and trained Nico, which greatly increased her powers, and even gave her the ability to cast minor spells without her staff. After managing to return to the present, though, the Runaways moved into one of their parents' last uncompromised bases. However, pretty much as soon as they moved in, some members of one of the Runaways' fellow alien race was trying to bring her back to be put on trial for her parents' crimes. These guys were tough, but Nico was able to buy the entire team some time by using a scatter spell to transport the aliens all across Earth. Unfortunately though, while this spell physically scattered her enemies, it emotionally scattered the Runaways. Although they worked through their problems enough to take the aliens down and embark on several other misadventures, Nico's spell and honestly the usual angst/hormone compound that comes with being a teenager drove the entire team apart. However, the biggest blow was when Chase and Nico were kidnapped by a villain named A.K.A, who pushed them to their limits. You see, Nico and Chase were two of 16 superpowered teenagers that were put into a place called Murder World by a villain named A.K.A. It's a battle royale/Hunger Games inspired deathmatch, where only one was to remain standing after 30 days of hell. For the first couple of weeks, Nico and Chase really didn't do much. They made a camp and defended it well, but the lack of sleep and food forced them to make an alliance with the kids from Avengers Academy. Food became the ultimate bargaining chip, so Nico enchanted a tree to produce fruit every 8 hours. That's high in protein, vitamin rich, and tastes better than anything found on Earth. This was enough to grant the two Runaways protection in the Avengers Academy camp, but Chase was convinced that they would kill them in their sleep. Well, thankfully the fruit was too damn good for the cadets to do anything other than eat and eat and eat. This alliance went well, until Chase was framed to make it look like he attacked one of his new allies, causing his new friends to kill the tree and cast them out. However, this didn't matter too much, since the remaining survivors ultimately all needed to work together against one of the contestants who decided to make herself into the villain of the game, a techromancer named Apex. Well, her and her non-psychotic twin brother that inhabits the same body. Because comics. Now, this threw the survivors in a bit of a pickle. Now, clearly killing Apex would save most lives, but at the same time, her twin brother inside was completely innocent. Chase was all for killing them, while Nico was not, prompting her to kick Chase out of the alliance altogether. Here's the downside though. During this battle royale, Chase had obtained the powerful Dark Hawk armor, which Apex was able to fully take over, and she used it to have Chase literally chop off part of Nico's arm, break the staff of one, kick her off a mountain, break her leg, and straight up bleed to death. But here's the thing. Nico is a witch who uses blood magic, so this is oddly enough the best way for her to die, since the more blood she sheds, the better. In fact, this was so much blood that despite the staff shattering, it reformed, brought Nico back to life, gave her a badass magic arm gauntlet thing, and made her more powerful than ever before. This power boost gave the kids an edge over Apex, and they seemingly killed her. But on the last day of the Battle Royale, things went kind of insane, with the remaining survivors turning on each other before Arcade was taken out behind the scenes. With Arcade out of the picture, the survivors make it out and form a pact to not speak about what happened on Murder World. That is, until Arcade uploaded the video footage to YouTube. But hey, you shouldn't give supervillains views, because that is just majorly advertiser unfriendly. You should subscribe to quality content creators like me. That was a pause for you to click subscribe. Anyway, Nico grew super distant after her month in hell was passed around all over the internet. But when the Murder World survivors were framed for killing A.K.A, they banded together one last time in order to redeem themselves. Yup, these teens became the new members of the Masters of Evil, which includes such members as Damon Hellstrom, the literal son of Satan, who offered to train Nico in the ways of dark magic. But if that wasn't enough, Damon also resurrects Alex Wilder to help out with the training, who Nico briefly hate-banged. The Murder World survivors worked with the Masters of Evil for about 3 months, until they successfully brought them down, after which Nico finally started rebonding with the Runaways. In fact, Nico started taking positive steps toward reintegrating herself with society, and even tried growing closer with her remaining non-evil family over in Japan. That honestly went pretty well until some female superheroes ended up crashing her cousin's wedding. These women went on to become a super team called A-Force, which Nico also ended up becoming a founding member of. This team was led by Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, which means that when Carol started the second superhuman civil war against Iron Man, you know that Nico had to get involved. This conflict started when Captain Marvel started using an Inhuman with the ability to see the future in order to prevent crimes before they even happen. Of course, teammates are no exception, so when it was discovered that Nico was going to apparently kill someone in the future, Cap wanted to preemptively detain her. Well, Nico was not a fan of that, which prompted a small story about self-fulfilling prophecies and that kind of stuff. The thing is, despite the fact that Nico ended up being fine after it was revealed that this supposed future murder was a bit of a misunderstanding, this still hurt her already prominent trust issues, and A-Force as a whole ended up disbanding almost as quickly as it formed. These days, Nico was cut off from pretty much everyone, and her magic arm was fixed off panel with no given explanation. Things have finally started to change though, when Chase burst into her apartment with Gertrude's body. It turns out that Chase went back in time to the exact moment that Gert was being killed, forcing Nico to work her magic and save her life. With Gert back in their lives, it's finally time to get the Runaways back together and give Nico one last shot at fixing her life, as well as her personal relationships. And as of the time of this recording, that is everything that we know. I know that was a lot to go through, so I hope that made some sort of sense after being condensed down so much. But of course, these videos would not be possible without all of our amazing supporters over on Patreon. Badasses like Ashley Donson, Bonnie Davies, David Flores, Yosh Flores, Taylor Adams, Leonardo, Dylan Sedvik, Sebastian Walker, and Jared Riker. Thank you guys very much, and you can see even more names of our supporters down there in the description below. But if you like this video, then you probably like the Runaways. So why don't you watch our complete history on the team, done in much the same fashion as this one? And maybe you can give us a like or a subscribe if you want to stay updated with all of our content. Please, be nice. Hopefully I'll see you next time.